can like time it and be like, okay, now like next thing.
Yeah, you got the time timer right there.
Oh yeah.
So it should be pretty. That part is pretty on rails.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Good. Ready? Yeah, you guys can start digging into the food. If I'm picking that up. Should we get some? Feel better? Hey, what's up? How are you? How you doing? Good. You like I do design stuff?
Yeah, cool. Didn't really read about it yet. I didn't read the description, I just saw the word.
We have a cool workshop.
Alright, awesome. That's cool. How have you been?
Good? How are your holidays?
Good.
Stay here?
No, I went to Houston in the States.
Oh, did you ever do the same thing?
It was like endless.
Yeah.
My mom's like, do you normally drink this much every day? And I'm like, no, you have it here.
Celebrate the holidays. Of course.
This isn't available in my life. Go to New York.
Yeah, that's where I'm from, up there. It was cold, but it was warmer than usual. It was like too warm to go snowboarding. So it's kind of a weird winter.
It was, we were sweating.
Yeah.
Houston, if you in the concrete and everything was sweating so hot. It was like,
It's like our perception of what Houston's always like.
yeah,
No matter
was
what
it in the
time.
winter?
Yeah.
Oh, it's even worse. You guys,
Yeah.
good to see you.
I was trying to find our last night.
And I create a new document when I think it's not somewhere else.
So hey y'all, we're gonna spend this first 20-30 minutes or so just kind of eating and chilling and networking, talking a little bit, just getting to know each other. While we are having these conversations though, just try and think about, and if you can, have a conversation about the last time that you remember giving a gift. So something memorable, something that you felt was really meaningful. It's just going to be something that we're going to use a little bit later on. But yeah, just an informal kind of QA conversation time.
Oh, I did.
Holiday party. White
gave me all this stuff to get out of the store. And I started to and one meeting I was in, the guy brought his buddy, so I'm worried on people right now.
Not too called Gallivant. New. We're about, we don't technically exist yet. We're about a couple months old, so it's like designing a prototype, the entire UX process. No, we're going to start, not an accelerator, but we're going to start working out a Galvanize, which is similar to Capital Factory. It opens in a couple months. Yeah, I think it's like I'm new to town also, so it's, I was gonna work out here initially, and then so it's kind of like buying way in the community. Yeah, like Galvanize is very similar to Capital Factory, same pricing structure. Oh, sorry. Fair enough. No, I think we haven't even like tried to raise seed funding yet, so we're just building out. Yes. Definitely. I mean, we're in the beginning of getting into the thick of bootstrapping. It's like I moved here.
How can you guys afford
Yeah, so like it's just me like for the sake of it. So it's like I just moved here, been traveling for 3 months, left DC in July, moved to Austin in November, basically looking for a tech and potential partner to start building. So like Kyle and I are working together. He's not paying us. Like it's just like we're just like flat out building it right now. And so like built a website we're about to launch. We're busy photoshopping out the app experience. We're thinking a lot about UX design and stuff. So
that is the most exciting.
oh yeah, then it gets hard. Yeah, I mean I have no tech background at all, so I'm really excited to have to do it right, but to get through this process, and then actually start putting the product in front of customers, getting actual feedback, find the product. No worries, I was blowing my nose right before I got it.
Yeah, actually, his boss is notorious for its so yeah, I did not buy it. Take my shirt off, like, oh
No,
my
I've always been a winter allergy. Like I'm from East Texas. I've never had any allergies. I've been mostly on the East Coast the last 7 years. I've had terrible wintertime allergies. Like I never had any trouble in spring, but like December through March I would be a mess. But yeah, Austin's been kind of similar. I hadn't been taking allergy pills. Like it got cold and I just went down, but what's your name? When was the last time you gave a gift? It's the prompt for us.
Oh. Christmas.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of an obvious answer at this time of year, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, not too hard. Set up an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting. How big is your team?
7.
Awesome. You guys are raised.
We just
Just raised. See, we're not very
yeah, we were. Well, technically, we had it closed, but I still have to choose.
Right.
Yeah. Usually.
Got the signature, but not the check.
It's hard. I always thought.
It's still exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
I'm like, we had a lot of preliminary conversations within a few weeks of starting to actually ask for like relatively small amounts of trying to basically raise like an initial $50,000.
Yeah, just
Like some ramp. That's what I've heard. It's like much better on the front end than
Oh, yeah. Well, raise a larger grant. Like all the money, we just get it.
Yeah.
We got our first check from but these are based on. But a lot of, yeah, all of the rest.
Right. Interesting. Yeah.
But not.
It's really just revision. That's what I'm pretty consistent feedback from keep talking.
Yeah, it depends. It's more of an enterprise software than I do.
Right. Yeah. Saying nothing. From the data or one is So I was just having a conversation with a friend who was basically like having this idea very recently. Like he's a teacher.
I use our sheet. That's why I get one, but and they're all similar, but it's all about
It's a great
working out. I don't care about it. But it's but like anything else, it's got quite building Why not? I'll make a game out of So half a block. It's just much more. Yeah, we were there like about.
you actually it can be kind of
That's our, it was our strategic goal, right? To be really loud. One is the west side I guess
Like raise your money and then.
yeah, well, we should put on a help happy hours to get trying to design
It has a lot of stuff, so
You shouldn't be nervous. What did you decide about the
Oh, I think we're just gonna do that, like, we're gonna be going in.
okay. My help during that? No. Okay. So it's at after they're gonna go get it. Kind of thing you don't want to
which is boxing around. Make that even like. Yeah, it got me a great opportunity. Besides that, it's and you know, it gives you the higher level stuff. It's something. It's hilarious. Very bitter. Very It's good at I don't think we're wasting I find it very relaxing.
Pretty much the main
Yeah, he
Hardware technology. Sanitation scales is the idea of
It looks the same. But with the
She kind of helped us. I go check anyways outside and then do insurance. It's actually kind of glad it's great. Actually, I just signed up. So you say free? Yeah, I have two more friends that are, I guess these are departments, but they actually signed up, so they said they were going to oh yeah, the workshop section. All right, hello everybody. Thanks for coming. We're gonna get started now. So welcome. This is the mobile UX Lunch and Learn. Daniel's got a great presentation lined up for you guys and workshop on maximizing your return on investment. So Daniel and myself from Jackrabbit Mobile. There's a few other rabbits running around here. We are a mobile-first design and development firm. We used to be in Capital Factory. Just graduated our own space for the holidays. Really excited about that. We get to work with a wide range of companies, from Capital Factory startups to big tech companies around Austin. And the fun thing with what we do is we get to see a whole wide range of applications. Like I say, we've done everything from dating apps to healthcare apps, kind of everything in between. And we've seen that mobile or UX has applications that have helped all of those, or uses that helped all those applications across the board. So really excited for Daniel to share a lot of that stuff with you guys today. If anyone's a developer, we also run a few meetups in Austin, an Android meetup and an iOS meetup monthly. You want to find out more about those, go to our website. And if anyone's interested in design services or just wants to get in touch with Jackrabbit, or if you want to apply, you can find us at jackrabbitmobile.com, or my email address is anthony@jackrabbitmobile.com. And then I'll let Daniel kick it off. Got a really cool presentation for you guys today. Thanks.
Awesome, cool. So thank you so much for coming, guys. So from a high level, as you guys can see, we just had a little bit of networking, and next we're gonna go through a quick presentation. I'm gonna try and keep this really brief so that we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. After this presentation, we're gonna go through a quick workshop focused on reimagining the gift-giving experience. So for right now, I'm gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about business impacts of UX. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and take it away. Thank you again for coming, by the way. So today, I want to introduce what these business impacts are and explain how we can achieve them. And then, again, we're going to go ahead and partner up at the end to give it a try and have a little bit of a crash course on facilitating this research yourself. So, from a high level, why invest in UX? This is a pretty simple picture, but it just shows that oftentimes people don't follow instruction, and a lot of times there are very, very clear instructions. So before we get started, I just wanted to clarify some of this terminology, because UX and UI are often really closely conflated, and while they're very similar, they aren't exactly the same. So as we see it, experience design is really about understanding people's journeys, and interface design is really more about streamlining and facilitating those journeys. So in this context, people are trying to go here at the interface, not really helping them. So why doesn't everyone do research like this up front? To simplify that, it's just budgets. UX practitioners really have to make a solid business case to justify research budget, and it's not a really prevailing executive trend yet everywhere. So modeling how much revenue your team can enable will justify much more expansive research efforts. So these three metrics are often all you're really going to need to justify UX research to business stakeholders. If you can look at these three metrics, oftentimes you can generate a business model that's going to really validate your research effort. So I'm going to describe how this can work, and I want to tell you guys the story of the $300 million button. So this button cost a very large e-commerce retailer $300 million. A few years ago, a UX team was speaking to a bunch of users of a large e-commerce website. So in order to advance the checkout flow, users had to tap on this button that said register. So users did not like tapping on this button, and they vocalized this in the research repeatedly. They would say things like, I'm not trying to start a relationship. They hated this. They felt like they were signing up for marketing and a whole bunch of stuff that they did not want to sign up for. They didn't want to share their personal information. So it appeared that users were not completing this checkout flow and finalizing their purchases because this button made them feel uncomfortable. So what did they do? They changed the word to continue. And with a single word change, purchases began to flow in at a much higher rate. After the first month, there was an extra $15 million in revenue. After the first year, there was over $300 million in revenue. So Forrester has really looked closely and indexed a lot of companies and situations like this. And they've done it for some time, almost a decade now, actually. In a recent report, they found that investing in UX research early in the cycle has massive, massive returns in growth. And basically what they did was they compared companies that did well on their customer experience index against the S&P 500, and ultimately they found that businesses businesses that were high on the customer experience index compared 36% better against the S&P 500 and 76% against those that did no UX research. So making this case to business stakeholders that UX research is going to create value for them is really the path to more UX and to happier users overall. So let me talk real quick about how we craft some of these results. And again, there's no single one right way to do this, but there are a lot of wrong ways. This is one way that we know works. So we start with the traditional build, measure, learn cycle. Ultimately, we're just trying to close this loop as fast as we can. So we think of an experience design as a series of experiments that help us measure the success and learn what to do next. So closing this loop means that we've learned about a business hypothesis. So we have a business hypothesis, we build an experiment, we measure the outcomes of that experiment, we learn from those outcomes, this data, and this prioritizes our future build actions. So here's how we've applied this process for the Society of Wine Educators. They are basically a sommelier and wine education platform, and they wanted a way to engage and educate their customers, but they also needed a new way to underwrite this platform as it moved forward. So in order to do this, we defined our initial hypotheses as wireframes. Ultimately, we talked about the business goals, we wireframed out things on whiteboards, and from there we made some really quick, low-fidelity wireframes, prototypes. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with this. But this took no longer than a few days, and this helped us make the case to business stakeholders and ensure that everyone was on the same page. So we can show this to the whole team, make sure that everyone's expectations are aligned, and furthermore, we can make the case that this is indeed the right way to journey people through this application and to communicate it with other touch points, or connect it with other touch points rather. So with these wireframes, we actually ran experiments to learn more about hypothesis. So we bring real users in, we talk with them about their experiences, their goals, what they were trying to do, and then we literally put these wireframes in front of them. So I'm sure you guys know, click-through prototypes, Envision, Marvel, Flinto, there's a lot of apps out there that are doing that right now. Put one of them in front of them, and we give them a scenario. Prompt them through different points of this scenario, and make sure that they can understand the icons, that they can complete the flows, and that our expectations and hypotheses align with the actual outcomes and the actual user behaviors. So these experiments create a whole ton of data, really valuable, actionable data, and that we can go and analyze to prioritize and create new user stories. So again, this is over the course of a few days. We're getting all this data. We have the chance to analyze it, and the way we like to analyze it is in the context of, again, journeys, so how users are actually perceiving this. So this is an example of a journey map or an experience map. And what we did here is we've got all of these different steps for what the user is experiencing, what the user is feeling. These are quotes with actual pain points, and then quotes with actual business opportunities from there. So these points actually become user stories. And in this way, we prioritized our most substantial and valuable opportunities to the actual users. And over here, you see our persona map. So these are our mental models of the users. So this describes and communicates how different people use the tool and perceive their intended outcomes. So these prioritized user stories often become people's favorite features, and these features help drive growth. And as we go through more build, measure, learn cycles, we hear about that. We hear qualitative feedback. We hear people tell us how they love this point system. We hear people tell about how they told their friend this because it was so enjoyable. So ultimately, we're tracking this qualitatively. We can track this quantitatively with our key performance indicators and our analytics. And in this way, we know that we outperform our goals. Initially, we had a goal to generate 1,000 leads, and in the first 3 months, we ended up generating 4,000 leads. We're currently completing 27,000 quizzes a month, and in terms of user engagement, we know that 69 out of every 100 new users actually go through and complete one of these educational quizzes. So people aren't just downloading the app and getting lost in the onboarding flow, they're coming through and actually engaging, and their behavior is getting habituated so that we can have these measurable outcomes repeat into the future. So our process is a cycle of building, measuring, and learning. this method allows us to verify our business hypotheses at a very rapid rate, down to a few days or a week. The build is a build of an experiment, and this basically makes a measurable, testable product. From there, we can measure this experiment. This produces data that we learn from. We create new ideas that we build and we test. So rotating this cycle means that we have made measured progress. So with that being said, I want to switch over and go ahead and get ready to start our workshop. So what we're going to do is a crash course on user interviews. So this is functionally the measure cycle. So this is when you'll be bringing people in, recruiting people, determining who you need to talk to, and then bringing them in to, I'm going to move this to a different slide, I guess. So this is a qualitative, this is a intro to the qualitative side. There we go. Okay, so at this point, we're going to go ahead and hand out a whole ton of our packets. So there's a bunch of packets here, there's some packets in the back, and we're just going to ask that you come and get some of these and get some pens, or get a pen if you don't already have one. So here's this, I'm going to put some over here too. Sorry.
One per person? Or
One per person, and if you wouldn't mind, try not to go through it until we're actually going through it, so try not to peek ahead.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
You don't have a pen, you have actually a whole ton of them. Okay, cool. Good. So, does anyone else need a pen or a packet? Is everyone good? All right, I'm gonna put them back here, or there's gonna be some back here in case anyone else needs them. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go through this workshop, and as I was talking about, we're going to run through one of these measure cycles at a hyper-accelerated pace. So while traditionally we might be running through one of these at a scale of days or maybe even a week, we're going to try and do this in 30 minutes. So it's going to feel very rushed, it's going to feel very uncomfortable, and that's intentional. You know, necessity is the mother of innovation. We just want you guys to have a little bit of fun, to have some conversations with your partner, and to have some cool ideas. Ultimately, this is just trying to be a little bit educational and show you guys how we think about this and give you a feel for the actual process as it all relates to each other. So, one bit of background. This program is actually coming from the Stanford D School. So this is where the design thinking came from. And it was actually designed, the program was designed so that it might facilitate design thinking amongst executives and non-designers. So the idea is to give an intro about how to approach this, this user experience thing if you might not have a very big background in it. So with that being said, we're gonna have a couple quick milestones. So we're gonna interview each other. We're gonna capture our findings. We're gonna state a challenge and choose a purview, and generate a whole ton of ideas. We're gonna share our solutions and then go back and dig deeper with our partner. So another round of interviews. We're gonna reflect and storyboard out a final solution. So a beginning, middle, and end solution. And then we're gonna do a little bit of analysis and have some feedback at the end. So that being said, we're gonna ask you guys to go ahead and partner up right now. If you're the odd person out, go ahead and grab a facilitator over here or back there, and we're gonna go ahead and get started after that.
Come over.
I'll get somebody in the middle.
You go over there.
Space right here.
One extra? Okay. I guess. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and ask that we don't get started just yet. Has everyone found their partner? Yeah? Everyone's found their partner? Okay, so let's go ahead and get prepared. Make sure you have a writing surface in your bag. And try not to go out of your bag. So we're going to go into situations. Cool. So as we were talking about earlier, hey guys, let's pause for 1 minute because I have a little bit more explaining to do before we get started. Thank you kindly. So if you wouldn't mind just flipping back to the first section of the packet, this whole thing is timed and we want to make sure we have enough time for each person and to go through the entire flow. So just to return and reiterate, today we're going to be redesigning the gift-giving experience for your partner. So all of these conversations and interviews that we're going to be doing, we're going to be trying to learn more about the last time that your partner gave a gift so that we could improve that process. So what I mean by that is if I was giving a gift to my niece, but I felt a lot of friction because I hate going to the post office and I hate leaving my house, then perhaps my partner could redesign a process for me where I don't have to leave my house while giving a gift to my niece. And that might make it easier and better for me to give a gift to my niece. Is that clear? Are there any questions about that? So we're not redesigning the gift they gave, but we're actually redesigning the process in which they determine which gift to give and the gift giving itself. Right? Okay. Muy bueno. Cool. Awesome. So principals, for the next 30 minutes, we're going to go through this full measure cycle. We're going to pair up and interview each other. We're going to identify real needs in our partner, and we're going to try and develop a solution, even if it's a little bit crazy and not implementable. So no previous design experience required. Try and be really creative and have a fun time. The big picture here is just to have a blast, basically. So now we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to put 4 minutes on the timer. The first person to interview, to actually be asking questions, they are going to be person A. Person A will have 4 minutes to ask their partner questions, and then we will swap. And person B will have 4 minutes to ask person A questions. Is that clear? Does everyone see how that's going? So we have 2 4-minute periods here. And then as if I am person A and I'm interviewing person B, I will be writing down really interesting quotes and findings about the last time that I gave a gift. So in that niece example, I might write down, person A hates waiting in line and hates leaving his house. So that might be a finding or a quote. So with that being said, I'm going to put a 4-minute timer on here. There's going to be a light beep, it won't be too annoying. And at that point, we're just going to switch, and I'll let you guys know at that point. So with that being said, we're going to kick off. You guys ready? Go.
You sat back. How
So we're going to go ahead and switch roles now, okay? So person B will be interviewing person A for the next 4 minutes. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put another 4 minutes on the timer, and we're going to switch roles. Hey guys, in case you didn't hear, for the next 4 minutes we're switching roles. Person B will interview person A, okay? So we're just switching roles. If you have been being interviewed, you will now be interviewing. Please make sure to write down notes and just any quotes or anything, because you'll be using these findings for later on in the process. So if you haven't been writing stuff down, try and write stuff down. All right, so there's 4 minutes on the timer. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and switch to the next section now. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and try and make sense of this a little bit and distill our findings into some needs and insights. So really this is your opinion and your own slant and qualitative assumptions about what you just heard. It's an individual activity, so go ahead and write down what you found to be the most important needs and goals, or needs and insights that that you just found. So, if your partner is intending to achieve specific goals, make sure to write those down up here. So these are the end states that they want to achieve, and then pretty much any other need or finding that you had, list that down in the insights. So
When you say partner, do you mean the gift receiver or the person we're talking to right now?
the person you're just talking to, so to make their experience better, basically. So the end states that you, for example, were just trying to find. Okay, awesome. So, and if you have any questions, I'm going to be kind of walking around, but again, just an individual activity.
Solutions here or what? Okay, so I'm kind of expecting something.
And vice versa. Okay. So, I'm kind of thinking that, no, I think what he's saying is that I'm gonna write down that you I really enjoy in your desk experience. What results is correct. Hopefully it's true. Okay, so. Yeah, and. Wide selection, I mean, you ended up buying online instead of getting stores, right? I'm writing down what I think.
Cool, so we've got a little bit of time left to just write down the biggest summary of what you found to be the most important findings, basically. Especially in terms of desired end states. Cool. So now from these needs and insights, we're going to choose our angle. We're going to choose what we believe to be the most important problem that we heard stated from our partner. So for example, in this example, our partner named Jen really wants to give a meaningful gift and make sure that it arrives early. But she hates lines and doesn't want to be embarrassed. So this was the finding that I chose to base all of my future sketches and product decisions on. So we just heard a whole lot of really critical, interesting things from our partner. This is basically choosing to put blinders on and focus in on what we thought was the most important thing that we heard. So we're going to take 2 minutes, another individual 2 minutes, to just kind of make this choice. I know we heard a lot of things, but it's really just a choice and a gut feeling about what you think is the most important and valuable thing to explore more at this point. And if you want, it's really helpful to often refer back to the initial interview and see if you had any quotes written down that you thought were specifically relevant. And if you feel like you don't know enough, that's okay. We're going to learn more. This is just that's the point. All right, cool. So now that you've chosen a specific angle or insight statement that you want to focus on, we're going to go ahead and sketch 5 ideas. So we're really looking to choose 5 really radical ways to face this challenge that we just stated. So we're asking that you be visual here and use only when absolutely necessary, and try not to feel self-evaluative or concerned about, artistic merit or anything. Really, at this stage, stick figures are fabulous. You're just looking to communicate. It can be really, really broad, but just try and communicate 5 different ways that you could face your partner's challenge with pictures. So, for example, if this challenge was, waiting in lines, I might be taking pictures and sending it to them. I might be growing a plant and sending it to them. These different ways to approach this challenge. And again, feel really, really radical. If it involves, Star Wars tech, that's totally cool and actually desirable because it's going to help you really think better about these needs and ways to solve them. Alright, so we've got about a minute left. If you guys have any last ideas you can get out, especially if they're really, really crazy, that would be the perfect time. Cool. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to actually share our solutions. So we're going to take 2 minutes. We're going to go back to our A and B roles, and we're just going to try and communicate to our partner some of our crazy ideas and gauge their response. So see if any of our ideas are close to satisfying that need or delight that they're looking for. So this is going to be really, really quick. 2 minutes for each person just to share your solution. So, hold up your packet. I was thinking maybe you'd like this. I could teleport this to you. So, I'm going to go ahead and put 2 minutes on the timer. Again, person A will interview person B first, and we will switch roles and then put another 2 minutes on the timer. So, person A interviewing person B on the timer. Go.
I mean,
All right, hey guys, let's pause for 1 minute. It's the end of the 2 minutes. Let's take, we're gonna go ahead and switch roles now and have person B interview. Hey guys in the back, we're gonna pause now and switch roles. So person B will now interview person A, okay? And then at the end of that, we're gonna go ahead and take a minute to write down some of our favorite findings. But, and if you can, feel free to write them down on the page as you go. So 2 more minutes on the timer. Alright y'all, so we're going to go ahead and move on now. At this stage, let's pause the distillation activity or reflection activity. Hey guys, we're going to pause and move on, okay? Alright, so while these findings are fresh in your mind, we're going to move on and we're going to make a storyboard for our partner. So this is our final solution. So try and imagine what they just told you. Think of the favorite solution they had, some of the favorite parts of other solutions that they had, and distill this into a single solution. So try and think of the beginning, middle, and end of this use case. So for example, if I'm thinking about delivering packages with drones, then I might literally have a drone at the beginning, or a desire to deliver a package, the package being delivered, and the happy end state basically. So again, we're going to put 3 minutes on the clock. It's going to be an individual activity. Just consider what you learned from your partner and consider what the best solution would be after talking with them. So I'm gonna walk around and answer questions. I'm gonna put 3 minutes on the timer for now.
Are these practical
Oh,
solutions?
yeah.
These are more practical, but they don't have to be like implementable by any stretch of the imagination. So again, this is very much like that ideation phase. This is where you'd be kind of prioritizing user stories. Yeah, the physics of the universe do not need to be rigidly adhered to. Not yet, not yet. All right, so 3 minutes on the clock. Awesome. All right, cool. So we're going to go ahead and switch to the last page now, the analysis section. So this, what we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to spend 3 minutes each, and we're going to, again, describe our solution to our partner, and we're actually going to give our partner our packet and let them fill out this analysis. So, for example, if I was your partner, you'd give me your packet and then pitch your idea to me, basically. So, and I could write some analysis.
Oh, okay.
Does that make any sense?
Basically, I didn't mention each writes
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So if you can imagine it, it's like customer satisfaction So I forgot to say, this would be partner A interviewing partner B, and then we'll switch to partner B interviewing partner A. Apologies for lack of clarity, if you weren't already there.
Yeah, right. That's
All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and switch, and now partner B will be pitching, basically. All right, guys. So we are done with this workshop for now. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. And I'll continue on for a quick moment, and then we can have some Q&A. So, all right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap it up so we can finish up and have a couple minutes for Q&A. All right, cool. So, from a high level, this is what a measure cycle looks like. This is where you come in with a few hypotheses, you talk to some people, you run some tests basically, you get some feedback, you cycle through this a couple times. Traditionally, we'd follow something like this if this was a real measure cycle that had been going over for a week and we'd been actually talking with real users and building actual prototypes. We'd follow this with actual measurement. We'd be counting some of these feedbacks, and then we'd actually run some of that analysis and learning that we had showed you a little bit earlier with, like, for example, experience mapping and the card sorting activities. So again, from a high level, this was just a measurement-intensive activity, and then we would just follow with the learn. So it's the build, measure, learn loop. This is just a part of it. We did go ahead and put a guide out there. So there's a user session field guide that has some information about recruiting, about facilitating these sessions. So there's some much more granular. I'll promise I'll email this out to you guys. And it'll have some granular outcomes, determining how to plan your user sessions, and how to actually run these build, measure, learn loops on your own over the course of about a week. So it's going to give you all the tools you'll need to actually run some user tests. I wanted to thank you guys so much for coming out here, for having all these cool conversations and talking with us and participating in the workshop. And I wanted to ask if you guys had any questions for these last few minutes that we're here. I'm sure you guys do after that crazy workshop. Is there anything that pops to mind?
Which clickable prototype tool do you like the best?
I personally really like Marvel. So the two market leaders are really Envision and Marvel. Envision, from their own marketing department, they talk about it and present it as a business presentation tool. So Envision, for example, they're actually envisioning this as you selling to business stakeholders with it. For example, it's a presentation tool. Marvel, on the other hand, is very heavy on user testing and UX users. So, for example, they have integrations with other users, UX services out there that will literally allow you, for example, to have your phone email someone a test, and you can capture video of their face from the onboard camera, and it's literally a matter of sending them a link. So it's very, very not like Marvel. Right now, Marvel's the only one that has that. It's also. This is a bit of an aside in techie, they cache their stuff really well. So if you're running a user test somewhere with spotty internet, you're going to be able to continue to run your user test, whereas Envision doesn't cache their stuff really well, or at least last time that I ran a user test with them. So we literally had to go and make it in Marvel, and where we had internet, run back to where the spotty internet was, and actually run the user test. So like I said, there's a lot of different strengths and weaknesses of the different platforms. We use Marvel for that reason.
Can I have a follow-up question? So how do you actually find these people to test it on? And do you bring them in-house, or you just, like you said, just send them to
we usually bring them in because at this stage, a lot of this style of user testing is for kind of product market fit stuff. So it's very early. We like to spend 20 of the 30 minutes just talking to people. So with recruiting. So in the session, the field kit I'm going to send out to you, there's a guide in there. It depends on who you're talking to, of course. Generally, you'll determine some criteria that are going to identify who these people are and how you might find them. For example, if we're looking for business executives, we might have some demographic and psychographic criteria. We might know that they work in this type of place, they have this income, they live in this type of place. So then we're going to go and find something like an email list or some place that we can basically communicate with them. A lot of times if we're using very general users, you can use Craigslist or a Mechanical Turk and have a very rigorous screener. So what we do is we have an open-ended questionnaire where people can just basically, we ask very open-ended questions. So if we're looking for healthcare, we're going to ask, how do you feel about your health? And we're not, guiding them in any direction, positive or negative. And we're going to have an open-ended field where they can add information, not like multiple choice that they can guide it. So, or be guided by our perceptions. So we send these screeners out to massive populations like email lists, business mailing lists, basically listservs, and you're going to come back with hundreds, if not thousands, of respondents who want to participate because you're offering them $50 to $100 or something. And then you can just survey through this. You might have 15 criteria that you're evaluating people based on, mobile usage. What do they use Facebook on, for example? Are they, web users, iOS users? And if you're making a prototype for iOS, you want to be, of course, very sure to only get your iOS users. Anyway, so then you've got a huge, basically, use Google Forms. You're going to have a huge, slides or sheets full of people. You can select them, call them, and bring them in. Mechanical Turk is another really great tool for remote participant sourcing. Very, very inexpensive. If you create a rigorous screener and you have a good, trustworthy population, you can literally run unmoderated tests, like throw people at click here for this. Where do you want to go for the menu? Just throw them at that, and you can get 5,000 people for like $50. It's, actual statistical significance. So that Mechanical Turk is really impressive. There's a big challenge with it is, again, making sure that you have very rigorous screening and you're very confident that the population that you're testing with represents your actual intended users. So those are my two favorite recruiting tools. Any other questions?
One question.
Yeah.
In general, the topic here is mobile UX, maximizing your return. And what I've learned is that this is kind of it's UX, the build, measure, learn cycle around UX and doing UX. What was the tailor to mobile other than kind of the pictures I saw was about mobile, et cetera? How did this tie into mobile more so than just general UX?
So in terms of mobile UX instead of general UX, with general UX, if a team has the largesse to kind of be exploring a customer journey from end to end, we found that that's very rare, especially in consultancy and even more in-house. And the companies that are doing that are actually the companies that are succeeding very well on the Forrester CXI score. So with that being said, the reason that this is tailored to mobile and the kit that we sent out is tailored to mobile is because we're looking oftentimes with these mobile products, we can test in the course of a week. For example, if we're testing a new product distribution scheme, actually Wizard of Ozing that and getting users to feel like and be able to make the decisions based on appropriate feedback can be much more expensive and expansive, and it wouldn't be able to follow this same let's do it in 3 days type mentality, let's roll out a prototype. Because prototyping that, or for example, if you're interfacing with a large database, you might have to have a more advanced prototype. So that would be the specificity, and again, with just the kind of UI examples, but the big thing, and part of why we chose to do that is because mobile isn't as meaningful as a delineating term. A lot of the bandwidth and screen size resolution restrictions that existed a decade ago aren't as powerful or influential in our decision-making process. So really, we're trying to think as much as possible about these end-to-end customer journeys, and we're trying to create value and by finding these different touch points that mobile can be with. You know what I mean? It can hit you here, it can hit you here, it can create value in really new, interesting ways. So we're really trying to figure out this ecosystem thinking and trying to figure out how we can apply this across the entire, like we're talking, customer journey. So yeah, that's the specificity as a component of that. Yeah. Any other big questions? I love talking about this stuff. All right, well, I know we're going a little bit over time. Again, thank you so very much, guys. It really means so much that you guys came out, and I really appreciate all of your sensitivity with the workshop. So if you want to leave your kit or your guidebook here, we'll just recycle them for you, or if you want to take it, that's cool too. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, and we'll be sending you out an email with those links.
I'll find you Daniel and Jackrabbit. I'll write mine.
The main guy running it.
Thanks for the really great questions. That really means a lot.
Yeah, I was interested. I'm a developer and I'm positioning in UX.
share that a little bit. Because we have the same, yeah, okay, cool.
I'm more of a front end like that. Actually, yes, we are. Back That's a whole different white way to buy. It's a pretty, black and white where.
Thank you. That was a really great question.
I was asking you today, I didn't know if my point is right. Yeah, I do, but
My name is Tom. I think that a while back, job Incubator, and there I work as a full and full app from scratch. So kind of
how should I get
I'm looking for a job now, so given that the offer is what I'm looking for, I can move right away. I can work given 2 months growth.
And what would you say?
We're definitely very strong at UI. You know,